Good morning. We are going for a morning walk today. It's almost 6 a.m. Wearing my shoes. I've been going out for morning walks on Sundays lately. It gets easier and easier for me to wake up at 5:30, which is amazing. So I'm gonna keep this routine up. Going for my Sunday morning walks.
Just a minute. Huh?
Good morning, happy Sunday. I decided I was going to film today because Sundays are my favorite days, partly because these are my only free days from the week. I'm studying law, by the way. Sundays are my reset, refresh days for myself, and I really do take my time. I make the most out of it. In the past few months, I have gotten into a routine on my Sundays, especially in the morning, that really ground me and I feel like really help me clear my mind and start a clean slate for the new week. Writing for an hour and a half. I got carried away, which is normally what happens when I write. I make it kind of compulsory for me to write on Sundays because I just feel like I need to clear my head from the past week and to start a clean slate for the new week. Especially lately, I've been writing more often, and so whenever I feel like I have thoughts in my head that I do want to put down, I just grab my journal or I just grab my laptop and just write. I just feel compelled to do it. Like, I don't know what it is, but it's like I cannot settle if I don't get my thoughts down. In the first few sentences, in your first paragraph perhaps, it takes more of an effort and it takes more of your energy to write down what you are thinking, which is normal, I find. But as you go along and as more and more sentences and more paragraphs are scribbled onto your journal, I really find that I start to lose myself in writing. Like, it starts to become more of meditation and I don't necessarily have to think about what I need to write. It just comes out of me, you know? It feels like you're in the flow. Pretty much reflects to whatever aspect in your life that when you start doing something, it always takes more of your energy. It takes more of your willpower to just begin. But once you've started and once you've started to loosen up and get into the groove of what you're doing, later on you just don't even notice that you're actually already enjoying it. When you decide to do something that you don't exactly like or want to do, but you know is good for you, eventually it's going to bring you benefits back that are way more impactful and substantial.
Come on, stop, turn the key and cooler on. Push the pause for relief.
Any competitor bank or financial institution within 1 year, both contracting parties. So 1308 says clients cannot be left to the will of one of them.
I will see the world feel through today.
Cannot. The full payment of the price is the positive suspensive condition, the happening of which gives rise to the obligation to deliver the subject property. I transferred my table here by the window. I'm really attracted to light. Like, I just need light. I feel better when I'm closer to the light. When it's brighter, I feel better. So I'm studying for an exam that we have in 3 days from today, which is obligations and contracts, which I would say is probably my favorite subject thus far. It really interests me. And I find that it's a lot easier for me mentally to study when the exam is still quite in the distant future. I am just pacing myself. There's no pressure. I'm just enjoying my time studying. And I think this is such an effective way to study when you take your topics one at a time. Like, you don't try to absorb everything all at once, because obviously it's such a bulk of information in law, and so you really have to manage your time well, which I'm still working on it myself. But I think I've slowly found my groove. I'm slowly figuring out what techniques or what structure works for me. What's really been helping me, of course, it's not easy at all to decide to sit down and study, right? It takes a lot of your willpower to do that. Just sit down, because the moment you decide to begin, everything just kind of flows a lot easier after that. There was this podcast that I listened to. He said this one line that has really stuck with me. He said, finish the time box. If you are working on something, for instance, if you're studying and you set yourself to study for an hour and 30 minutes, then you sit down and study for the entire hour and 30 minutes undistracted. Do not pick up your phone. Do not do anything else besides what you set out to do. What I do is I don't look at the time. I just read my book. I do what I'm doing. I stay focused on that. And eventually you won't really notice that time has passed by. I remind myself, if I ever want to do something else, like, oh, I don't want to be studying right now, I want to check my phone, or I want to read my book instead. If there are other things that I want to do, I just tell myself, okay, you can absolutely do that after you finish your hour and 30 minutes. Like, after this, you're free to do whatever you want for 10 minutes, and then you're gonna go back to this. I think that mindset has really helped me to learn to just control myself and to not be a slave to distractions. Doing something that you don't exactly like doing, it really builds your willpower. It really is a habit that you exercise. Before I start studying, I want to make my intentions clear to myself. I study because I enjoy learning. I study because I find satisfaction in gaining new information, gaining new knowledge. I want to be able to remember what I studied, not just for the exam, but even beyond that, like I want it to be ingrained in me, not just to achieve a certain output, but to actually make that usable for me beyond school into practice. And the Kodal, by the way, is my best friend. First thing that I go to is the Kodal. And from there, I just build up. I just supplement the Kodal with applications in cases, for instance, the books, the textbooks, but really, I start from here. In our coverages, I try to really memorize it. I really do memorize the articles, the provisions, word for word if I can. I find that law really is about getting the provisions accurately. Even if you understand it, honestly, some professors really just prefer it if you have the exact word. I even try to really memorize the numbers, the provisions, and it works for me. It has worked for me. So I'm gonna make lunch because I am hungry. Go to church right now. It's really hot in this top, but it looks pretty. I have nothing else to wear as well, so. 7:30 p.m. Wow, she really doesn't go out anymore. On Sundays, actually, I usually go out for dinners to treat myself from a week of just hard work, eating everything at home, making my own food and stuff. But in the past weeks, we've been pretty loaded with school, so I just preferred to stay home and order dinner instead. So I already put in my orders. So while waiting for that, we are going to make food. We're gonna cook right now. On Sundays, I meal prep food for the week. I cook and make food in bulk because I don't really have time to make food on the weekdays when I'm studying, and so it's just very easy for me when I already have food prepared to just reach for good healthy food. First thing I'm gonna make is noodles. This is a new recipe and I really loved it, so let's do it. Let's make some shrimp. Hour and 30 minutes of cooking, food has arrived. Got some ramen. This is a sad ramen. I wanted the Dotonburi, but no driver accepted, so it doesn't look very good, but I hope it's still gonna satisfy me. Let's try it, shall we? It's okay.
To teach you not to give up and to find out who has what it takes. So we have to be ready for everything.
Good morning. It's the next day. I'm feeling a bit under the weather this morning. We're gonna go work out because I know that's gonna make me feel so much better. Let's get into it. Today I'm gonna make a yogurt bowl for breakfast. I haven't had a yogurt bowl in a while. I feel like that's what I'm craving right now because it's really warm. I'm just gonna use this one from Nestle, but this is unsweetened. It's only got 4 grams of sugar. I don't like sweet stuff, so this works for me.
Sige, kadil sa kadil kayo basta di mana nas kadagpuan. Okay ra na huwag lang magkit-an ko ganang ilang pound di ra kanang usang tao.
I have been studying for the past hours on this table. I thought I needed a break from this home environment, so we're gonna go to a cafe outside. I'm still gonna study there, but at least it's a different environment, a different vibe, which I need. I just changed into this sweater as if it's not the hottest, but it's already 5 p.m. and we're gonna go into a cold cafe, so this is gonna work me well. I learned my lesson from, thinking that it's really hot, so I'm just gonna wear a sleeveless to go to a cafe. And then when I got there, it's really cold, and I just felt like I wasn't able to learn as well because I was so distracted by how cold I felt. So I learned my lesson. Today we're wearing something really warm.